Hey, good evening, everybody. In this video, I'm going to talk about a life skill class session which came back to my mind, and I want to share it with you. That session was about the stories that goes in our head, the opinions, the thoughts, and how we consider them to be the only truth, and we fight over that. So in our life skill session, there was an activity in which there was a picture, and it was an optical illusion picture, due to which if you see it from one angle, that picture would seem like of an old lady, and if you see it from a different angle, it would look like an young lady. So what we used to do was that we used to divide the class in two groups, and in one group, one of the moderator used to tell the story of a young lady, and the other group was being told the story about the old lady, and different age, different story. Now when both these group used to come back to the class, and then we used to ask them to let's talk about this picture and frame one story based on facts. Now, as soon as this used to happen, so one person used to say ki it's an old lady, other one used to say from different, no, it's not an old lady, it's a young lady. Then they used to talk about age, and in every, obviously the two groups start fighting with each other, and at first they used to laugh, and then they start fighting with each other, saying that they are the right one, and why can't they see the old lady or the young lady? And this we used to watch when this whole process is going on. And then always in the class, after some time, one person or two people, they think, and there is a eureka moment, and they say, oh my god, there is another lady in the picture. And we used to tell them to be quiet, and the session used to go on, and then after a while we used to stop that discussion, and then used to ask the person who saw both the ladies in the picture, and then they used to explain, and then we used to ask them what they felt. They said they're two ladies, and how their brain clicked and could see both the pictures. Now when I was thinking about that, I was thinking in the context that in our mind there are always thoughts and opinions which are going on, and these thoughts and opinions, in fact there are stories which are going on based on the new experience which we have or whatever. So what happens, our conditioning or the way we look at things get affected, and we make a story in our head, and the story keeps on changing according to the outer circumstances. That outer circumstances could be favorable or non unfavorable or whatever, and based on that we are framing a story about other people, about a situation, everything. In fact, there is one more story wherein it's a quite a famous story wherein this person and the lady were at some cafe, and she was eating the guy was eating a popcorn, and this lady was very angry why this guy is eating my popcorn and everything. And then finally she tells him that why you are eating my popcorn, and then he tells her, no, I'm not eating yours, but this is my popcorn. And then she looks into the bag, and suddenly she realizes that yes, in fact she was sharing his popcorn, and he didn't said anything. So the kind of story that was going on in her head about that person, that this person is so rude, he is stealing my popcorn, he never asked me while taking the popcorn, everything, and that completely, that paradigm shifted. So both the stories are about the paradigms and the thoughts, but this time I saw the story from a different perspective, in the sense that in our life we all are doing the same thing. We have different paradigms, and they get shifted according to the situation, according to that person or the situation is serving or not. So now this is always happening. So should we trust those thoughts and opinions based on the paradigms which keep on shifting all the time. And within this, I can recall one more story, that there was a farmer and he had 3 sons, something like that. And then one of the son falls down and fractures his leg, and everybody comes in the village, they come to him and say, oh, we are very sorry, there's such a bad thing happened to you, your son has fallen down. He said, whatever, the gods will. Then there was a war and all the young people were being taken to the war, but his son was exempted because obviously he had a fractured foot. Again the people came and they said, oh my God, you were so lucky of this fractured leg son, he didn't go to the war. He said, I don't know anything. I just know God is doing whatever he's doing. Again something happens and again they say, oh my God, this is so unfortunate, this has happened with you. The people, some thief came and stole their belongings. If your son would have not been had this problem, so then all your belongings would have been saved. Again he said this. So every time what is happening, the situation is changing. People are judging the situation based on the fruits they are seeing at that particular moment. But this farmer is very clear, he's not judging his situation and just saying that I don't know anything, I just know that God is in control. And this is a very enlightening part wherein you don't have any thought, you are not trusting your opinion in the sense taking them to be final, and you trust the will of the universe that whatever is happening. I'm not going to judge that. This person is in some form of a thoughtless kind of a place and living a good life, and is being connected to the source somewhere and has such a full trust in the universal power. So that is another aspect of the story which I liked. So there are this video should be named the paradigm kind of a thing. So most of our life, we are listening to the stories and we are forming stories in our head, and we never question whether we should believe those stories, whether we should question the reality of these stories and the thoughts, and question ourselves. There are very few people who do that. But once you embark on the journey of questioning the stories in your head, and you come to the place of where there are no stories, because you realize that none of the stories are true. They are all false. They have come up from so many filters of your past conditioning, experiences, things happening in the present moment, but nothing is true. And when you come to this understanding that nothing is true, you come to a very vastness and very vast place of thoughtlessness. There are very few thoughts there, and you come to the realization that thoughts are just thoughts. Let's not identify with them, because they are not permanent. They will come and they will go. And once you stop identifying with them, you connect to the supreme oneness. You realize that there is the supreme power. You connect to that nothingness of the thought, and you live life from that place of nothingness, which in itself is the creative force, and which has, from where everything has come out, everything has originated. And whatever has originated from this nothingness, and everything in this world, you see that it is all temporary. Nothing is permanent, just like your thoughts. This world is also temporary. The people are temporary. The situations are temporary. Your everything, your posts, all the things that you are identifying with, all are temporary. And anything that is temporary or can change any moment, or can change any point of time, should we take that as a reality, or should we depend on that? Should we identify with the kind of a reality which can change anytime? Now here another life skill session is coming to my mind was the proactivity session, in which they talked about the circle of control. So the circle of control is all about what is it within your control, and you realize that nothing is in your control in this world. Your kids, your job, your success, your hard work, even your health, your life, your death, your relatives, your relationships, everything that you are identifying with is not in your control. It can change any moment of time. And when you process that reality, that nothing is in your control, it is very disheartening. It is very disappointing. It's a very hopeless kind of a place. But once you accept the reality, you realize that what is within my control. And you realize there is only one thing that is in your control, that is you, yourself, that your I. And this I is what? Your thoughts, your way of looking at life. So this I, whatever is your related with your I, your actions, everything is that I surrounds around this I. And it is again, you feel like very empowered, because you come to the place of this understanding that this I is in control. You can control your thoughts. You can change your vision. You can see the things in a different light. You can change the way you react. You can, in fact, respond, your response. So the I is in control and is quite empowering. And that's why I think every spiritual journey runs on this search of this big I. Everybody, when they start with the question, the basic question is, who am I? All the gurus and everything. Okay.